Hello, my name is Lisa Elvin Stoltari, and this is my channel. Have roots, will travel. I'm a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Most of my videos will be about traveling or understanding various localities, but in this special series, I'm focusing on a part of Quebec Canadian history that is near and dear to my heart, the story of the Fille Du Roi, or the King's Daughters. In this series, I'll be focusing on individual biographies so that we can get to know as many of these amazing women as we can. Please let me know in the comments below if there's one Fille Du Roi in particular that you are interested in, and I'll try to move her to the head of the line. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click on the notifications alert so you'll know when I post new content. Les Filles du Roi was a program that was complex and had many different layers. I have prepared a special YouTube video just to explain the program, and it's called Les Filles du Roi, the program. So if you want to look up in my channel, on my channel, that particular video, it will give you much more insight as to how the program worked and what the ladies were encountering, what they received, all of that. Today we're going to be focusing on an individual Fille du Roi, and let's have a look at her. Today we're going to be looking at Madeleine Phillippe, who happens to be my 8 times great-grandmom. Madeleine was born about 1651 in the parish of Saint-Étienne-du-Mont in Paris. You can see on the right side of your screen the church that she would have been baptized in. I have also drawn a map here, not drawn, but included a map with an arrow that lists exactly where this particular parish is found within the 6th arrondissement of Paris. She was the daughter of Nicolas Phillippe and Marie Crier. The 6th arrondissement is the oldest arrondissement in Paris, and arrondissement means section, and it was first built by the Romans. When Marie-Madeleine was about 17 years of age, she was recruited to be a Fille du Roi. She would have embarked on this trip sometime in May or June, probably May of 1668, and would have arrived in Quebec City on a ship called La Nouvelle France on July 3rd, 1668. 80 other Filles du Roi were among the passengers on that ship as well. Now, what is very important to note, because it's unusual, is that both her parents were alive at the time that she left. So we have to assume that she came from, if not poverty, extremely meager circumstances. Now, let's look at the groom that she picked. He picked Pierre Tousignant de Lapointe. His parents were Hugues Tousignant and Marie Taillé. He was born on the 23rd of March, 1641 in Blais, Gironde, Aquitaine, France, and he arrived in Canada in 1665 as a soldier with the Carignan regiment. So you can see here on the map exactly another port city that he was from. They were married on the 17th of October, 1668 in Quebec City at the Notre Dame Church. 2 other Filles du Roi were married that day, Marie-Jeanne Gauthier, who married Gilles Masson, and we have Michel Robineau, who married Michel Goron de Petit-Bois. And these 3 couples lived in the same cabin at Saint-Charles-des-Roches for a time. I don't know how long. Before we leave this, although it's difficult to read on a screen, suffice it to say, this is where we would have seen if Marie-Madeleine's parents were passed on. It would say on the list her parents de feu, and so when you see that Pierre, Michel Phillippe du you know that parent has passed on. So it's important for you to read the documents. Always read the documents as you can. Even when you don't speak French, you can absolutely, once you get the lay of the land, so to speak, you can figure out exactly what's going on with how they present the information. So that is our confirmation that her parents were not passed away at that time. So the name Grondet, they settled in Grondet, and it was actually named by Samuel de Champlain himself. Grondet is from the French verb gronder, meaning to rumble or roar. So in 1674, the Grondin's windmill was built, and it is the oldest windmill in Quebec. The windmill was first a flour mill and then a lighthouse. The family lived here until 1677 when they moved to Lotbinière. So you can see where Grondin is. Okay. But before they could move, something very tragic occurred. There was an attack on Madeleine. We don't know when it occurred, but we know that on the 10th of April, 1673, the Sovereign Council found Michel Goron already in prison at Quebec City. He was guilty of beating Madeleine. He was fined £26 plus the court costs, the cost of the doctor's fees for Madeleine's treatment, and £20 to be paid to the king. Now, if you recall, he was among those, one of the three couples. Michel Goron married Michel Robineau at the triple ceremony, if you will. So and they lived together. So it must have been something very traumatic that occurred. I don't know. I don't think they were living together at the time, but obviously this was truly someone she knew. This happened in 1670. The family stayed in Grondin, but by 1677 they did move. And this is where they moved, to Lotbinière. The family moves. And the pioneers of Lotbinière, here he is, Pierre Lapointe de Tousignant. He is listed as a major pioneer. Michel Lemay, Jean Baudet, Jean Hamel, Daniel de Nevers, Jean Pérouse, and Louis Auger. The reason why I list all these names is as we go through, you're going to find some of these names come up again and again. Now, the history of Lotbinière, René-Louis Chartier became the first seigneur of this territory when in 1672 he was granted by the King of France with Jean Talon's assistance. He named the seigneurie after one of his family's old seigneuries in France, Lotbinière. In 1693, the inhabitants built the first church, probably a small chapel or church, at a place called the Domaine. It was during the construction of this building that Bishop de Sévigné, impressed by the faith and courage of these settlers, decided to elevate the Lotbinière mission to a parish in September of 1724. In the 1681 census in the Seigneurie of Lotbinière, Pierre Tousignant is said to be 40 years old, his wife Madeleine Phillippe, 30. They did have 5 children: Marguerite, 10 years old, Madeleine, 8, Jean, 5, and Michel, 2 years old, Marie, 6 months. The couple own a gun, 3 horned animals, and 6 acres of land in value. In 1686, the Seigneur Chartier granted Pierre and Marie-Madeleine 4 more arpents, which is a little over 3 acres of land. So you can see they really began to prosper. Let's have a look at the family they created. Their firstborn, Marguerite, married a man named Noël Barabé, and they had 1 child. Marguerite sadly passed away soon afterwards. Madeleine married their second-born, married Simon-Jean de Nevers de Brentilly. If you'll recall, that was on the list of the founding families of Lotbinière. They did not have any children. Again, a very rare circumstance. Jean-Baptiste Noël married Marie Charlotte Agnes Method, and they had 11 children. all of whom made it to adulthood. Then we have Marie Michel. And you'll see she's in capital letters. She is my 7 times great-grandmother, and she married a man named Noël Barabé. If that name is familiar, that's because she married the widow of her sister. And they proceeded to have 10 children, 7 of whom made it to adulthood. Their daughter, Marie-Louise, is my 6 times great-grandmother. Now, Michel, and you'll recognize that they were twins. He's also my 7 times great-grandfather, and he married a woman named Marie-Catherine Poudrier d'Etnomé, and they had 5 children, all of whom made it to adulthood. Their son Ignace is my 6 times great-grandfather. Marie-Madeleine married Louis, Pierre, François d'Etmepage, and they had 5 children, 3 of whom made it to adulthood. And then we have Catherine Agnes, who I don't have any other information but her baptismal and a death certificate that I think is her, and I'm pretty sure is her. And that is the story of the family. And it's just interesting because this is the first time we have actually had 2 siblings that were part of the same lineage for me. Upon his death, Pierre, with Marie-Madeleine's consent, donate their land to their son Jean, on the condition that he pays £150, which they owe to certain individuals, and that he take care of them until their deaths. Pierre Tousignant de Lapointe died after the donation of his land. On May 31st, 1714, he died at La Nouvelle. Marie-Madeleine Phillippe died 10 years later, on January 9th, 1724, at the age of 73 years of age, and she died in Lotbinière. And so ends another episode of The King's Daughter. I am thrilled always to present these little mini biographies to give you a glimpse of what life was like for these ladies. And with that, we will see you on the next video. Au revoir.